Welcome to Nashville News 9, Nashville's go-to source for all things music, food, and local culture.
Hey everybody, this is Justin Steele and Kelly Cocktail with Nashville News 9. We're bringing you a deep dive into some exciting Nashville music news. We found this really cool article on Nashville.com about a new residency that we think is going to have country music fans just buzzing.
Well, what I think is so interesting is that this residency features members of a true country music legends band,
Yeah.
Waylon Jennings.
Yeah, Waylon Jennings. Now, for those of you out there who might not be familiar with Waylon Jennings, he was a pioneer of outlaw country music. Could you give us a little bit of background about that?
Absolutely. Outlaw country was a movement that kind of shook up the Nashville establishment in the 1970s. It was like country music's rebellious cousin. These artists like Waylon Jennings and Willie Nelson and Johnny Cash, they bucked trends. They wrote songs with this raw, gritty edge, and they just did things their own way.
So let's get back to this residency. The article tells us it features Waymore's Outlaws, a band that has been keeping Waylon's music alive for over 15 years now. But here's the kicker.
Yeah.
They've got some serious heavy hitters in the lineup.
Oh, yeah. Not just any musicians either. Talking about some of the original members of Waylon Jennings' band. Jerry Jigger Bridges on the bass, Barney Robertson on keys, Carter Robertson on vocals, and Jeff Hale on drums, and Fred Newell playing steel guitar. I mean, these guys were there for some of Waylon's most iconic moments.
That's amazing. I mean, just think about it. These are the musicians who played on hits like I Ain't Living Long Like This.
Yeah.
You know, the Dukes of Hazzard theme song?
Yeah.
Luckin' Back, Texas, Rainy Day Woman. Talk about a direct line to musical history.
Absolutely. And it's not even just about the music itself. Carter Robertson, who is one of the band members, is quoted in the article describing the show as a live documentary.
Oh, wow. That sounds really cool. What exactly do you think he means by that?
Well, imagine this. Imagine hearing these iconic songs played by the very people who recorded them, woven together with firsthand stories about Waylon Jennings. They were right there with him, you know? On the road, in the studio, they saw it all.
That is really cool. That makes you wonder, what kind of stories are they going to share? I was reading in the article that Luckin' Back, Texas was actually inspired by a real town in Texas. Waylon was looking to escape the pressures of fame, and he found a kindred spirit in that small town vibe.
Exactly. It wasn't just a song, you know. It was a reflection of Waylon's desire for authenticity and a simpler life, which really resonated with people at the time. And I bet these guys have some amazing stories about hanging out with Waylon in Luckenbach back in the day.
Wow, that's amazing. This whole live documentary idea is fascinating. It makes you wonder about all the stories that are hidden within these legendary bands. Imagine if we could get a residency with members of Elvis Presley's TCB band. Hearing those iconic guitar riffs and drum solos from the musicians who were actually there.
Oh, absolutely. Think about the stories they could tell about Elvis's stage presence, you know, about his recording process, his personality off stage. It would be like getting a glimpse into a whole other side of the king.
Or, where about a deep dive into the world of funk with some former members of Parliament Funkadelic? Those behind-the-scenes stories about recording with George Clinton, I mean, that would be incredible.
Now, that would be a wild ride. Imagine hearing about the creation of Mothership Connection or Flashlight straight from the source. It would be a masterclass in funk history and a whole lot of fun.
You know, it's not just about the big names either. There are so many amazing musicians who've played with these legends. Their stories deserve to be heard. It's like a whole hidden history of music just waiting to be uncovered.
Yeah, that's what's so exciting about this whole concept. It's about preserving these musical legacies, giving these incredibly talented musicians a platform to share their experiences and just keep those memories alive.
And it's a chance for us as music lovers to connect with that history on a deeper level, to hear those stories that you just wouldn't find in a book or documentary. It's like having a direct line to the past told through the eyes and instruments of the people who actually lived it.
It really makes you appreciate the impact that these artists have had on generations of musicians and music fans. Their music continues to inspire us, and these residencies are a way to ensure that their stories and their legacy continue to live on.
That's a really good point. And speaking in legacy, the article also mentions that Tommy Townsend, the frontman of Waymore's Outlaws, has been a good friend to Nashville.com for many years. It seems like there's a really strong sense of community within the Nashville music scene.
That's a great point. You know, Nashville might be a major music hub, but it still feels like a close-knit community where these musicians support each other, they share stories and keep the music alive. And that sense of community is really what makes Nashville such a special place.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
You know, it's not just about the fame and the fortune. It's about the love of the music and the connections you make along the way. And it's clear that Tommy Townsend and Waymore's Outlaws are carrying that spirit forward with this residency.
Definitely. So anyone out there listening who's a fan of Waylon Jennings, this residency sounds like a must-see. You'll get to experience his music in a whole new light with the added depth and intimacy of those firsthand stories.
And even if you're not a diehard Waylon fan, it's a chance to appreciate the power of musical legacy and the importance of preserving these stories for future generations.
Absolutely. The residency kicks off on December 28th at Chief's Neon Steeple. That's part of Chief's on Broadway here in Nashville. So if you're in town, be sure to check it out.
Definitely. So before we wrap up this deep dive, let's bring it back to you, our listener. What other iconic bands would you love to see get this live documentary treatment? Whose stories are you dying to hear firsthand?
Yeah, it's amazing to think about all those untold stories just waiting to be shared.
Right.
And, who knows, maybe some of these residencies could even inspire new generations of musicians.
Oh, for sure. It's all about keeping the music alive and passing the torch, so to speak. And these live documentary shows offer a really unique and engaging way to do just that. Yeah. I'll tell you what, this whole deep dive has definitely got me thinking about all the possibilities. I could already just picture myself sitting in the audience there at Chiefs, just soaking up all those stories and that classic Waylon Jennings sound.
Oh man, it does sound like an incredible experience. And it's a great reminder that music has this amazing power to connect us all across generations, to tell these stories and keep those memories alive.
Yeah, that's a really good point. So if you're a music lover out there, keep an eye out for these kinds of residencies. They're popping up more and more these days. And they offer a truly special way to experience music history firsthand.
Yeah, if you're ever in Nashville, be sure to check out the music scene here. I mean, you never know what hidden gems and musical treasures you might discover.
For sure. So until next time, keep exploring, keep listening, and keep those deep dive suggestions coming. We'll see you on our next adventure into the world of fascinating facts and intriguing stories.
Yeah, it really is incredible. I was just thinking about all these stories that we've been talking about. What do you think is one of the most interesting stories that you've ever heard from a band member, from a legendary band?
Oh man, that's a tough one. I've heard so many amazing stories over the years, but one that really sticks with me is about this time when, I can't really say who it was, but let's just say it was a pretty famous rock band. And they were on tour in the 70s. And their tour bus broke down in the middle of nowhere. And they ended up having to spend the night in this tiny little town. And they ended up playing an impromptu concert in the town square for all the locals.
Yeah.
It was just a really magical moment. It just showed how music can really bring people together, no matter where they're from or what their background is.
Yeah.
Wow, that is a great story. It's stories like that that really make these live documentary residencies so special.
Yeah.
It's not just about the music. It's about the personal connections and the shared experiences. And it's about keeping those stories alive for future generations.
Yeah, absolutely. It's a privilege to be able to hear these stories firsthand and to share them with our listeners.
Well, hey, we've had a great time on this deep dive, and we hope you have too.
Yeah, thanks for joining us.
And remember, if you have any suggestions for future deep dives, be sure to let us know. Until next time, keep exploring, keep listening, and we'll catch you later.